Here are 3 AI automation systems you can sell right now to businesses for anywhere from a few $1,000s all the way up to $10,000. Now, these systems I am going to walk you through, I've picked particularly because they have been some of the most heavily requested automations in our agency, and they also drive the most revenue and leverage inside of a business. If you want to get access to most of these templates, I have them hosted in my community. Link is down below. So the first one that we are going to be walking through is Human in the Loop. Now, to break down what this is doing, it is going to automate business operations with a human safety net. So what we can do is automate replies over email, text, chat, follow-ups, or even internal approvals, but route edge cases or uncertain responses to a human for review, hence the Human in the Loop name that I gave it. And as we can see right here, what I've done is I have used a couple examples. So this first example right here is going to be the use case of reactivating CRM leads. The second one down here is going to, well, it looks like I forgot to change the name, but the second example is going to be responding to and following up with emails. So you can imagine for customer support emails, or maybe wanting to handle tickets or anything else. Maybe you're an agency constantly dealing with requests from your clients and you want to automate the responses. Well, this is going to help you do so and also include that safety net for you guys. So what I mean by a safety net is including some sort of approval method or some sort of approval request where it's going to be asking you for approval, maybe on Slack or maybe sending you an email. And I'll show you guys what I mean particularly by this. So let me go ahead and fill this out. Let's say email customer support. Okay, let's actually focus on this first one up here. So what I have right here is this is going to essentially run every single day, and it's going to check my CRM to see if any leads have passed over 60 days without being contacted. Now, if 60 days have passed and any of those leads have not been contacted, what this is going to do, it's going to write an email and then send off that email. So you could see here, just as an example, do you approve this message to Jerry? And then it's going to show the message. Hi, Jerry. I noticed you haven't booked a call with us in a while and wanted to reach out to see if there's anything that we can help with. So this is going to be the message that our AI system is going to create. It's going to ask us if we approve of this. And then if we do, or if we don't, it's going to take its, appropriate actions from there. So we have 2 different routes. Either we're going to disapprove or we're going to approve it. Now, if we say, no, we need to make some tweaks, well, this revision agent is going to make any revisions necessary. And then this AI is just going to come up with particular things that it could be adding and then sending me another message within Slack, which looks something like this. Basically, it's just a revision implementing some of the different changes that I was asking for. Pretty simple stuff. And then that time I said, yes, this looks good. And then from there, it was actually able to send off the email, now knowing that I approve the message. So again, the biggest piece within here is having that human safety net. So if you are not confident in deploying AI into your operations or into your client's operations right away, this is something that we employ and something that I recommend you employ for yourself. So maybe you can be implementing a customer support system for your clients, where down here, we're going to be watching for any email triggers coming in. So email triggers, by that I mean email messages. So maybe we have customer support emails where somebody asks if we can help them with a ticket. Okay, well, instead of just creating a ticket and making that process be a little bit longer, let's set up AI and try to have it respond to all of those tickets. So what we're going to do from there, we just have to leverage a knowledge base of company information to create a response. Now, the idea here is to input some FAQs, some maybe past emails containing different messages and different answers to particular questions. So again, we're just leveraging a knowledge base of information so that we can then use this information, pass it to AI to come up with a response. So if somebody were to say, hey, Nick, I have issues with my product. Okay, well, we want AI to handle that. So we have to provide it with specific information. And that's exactly what we are doing here. So we're using Pinecone as the vector database, where we can just be storing some documents, FAQs into this knowledge base right here. So this is often one of the biggest pieces and one of the hardest pieces when it comes to actually working with a company. And one of the reasons why we actually use Human in the Loop, because When we first start working with a client, we may not always have a large database of information. So if that's the case, we're going to include human in the loop, where we're going to try our best, or at least have AI try its best to create a response to respond back to that email. But before we actually send that email off, it's going to send a Slack message to us saying, hey, what do you think about this email that I created? Can I send it off as a response and help them out? Well, from there, somebody is just going to say, no, I need you to make this change to the email. And we could also include it to be, self-improving. So when we provide that edit, it's going to automatically upload something into the knowledge base, but that isn't something that I included within here. It's another add-on that you could include again. So just keep in mind, there's always different things that you could tack onto these systems, and we build them with scalability in mind, so we can do so. So let me show you guys an actual example. So I'm going to go ahead and let me disable this for the time being so we can run this up here. So let's execute the workflow. It's going to check Google Sheets. It's going to see if any emails are past 60 days. It's then going to create a response right here. So what I'm saying within here is you are to analyze the text and only provide me with the emails written, the subject line, recipient, and their email. And what this is going to do, it's going to come up with a couple different responses. So it actually pulled 2 different leads, recognizing that 2 of these leads haven't been contacted in 60 days. For both of those leads, it's going to come up with a message reaching out to them, trying to get them to convert on whatever it may be. So you can imagine if you're trying to sell them a different service or to see how things are going, maybe you're trying to get a review from them, whatever it may be. So now, instead of just going from this AI model, creating that response, instead of going from there straight to sending that email, it's going to send me a Slack message and it's going to wait for my approval. So all we say within this node is, do you approve the message to the recipient? So we're just including the variables for the recipient and we're just dragging this and dropping it within here. So what we're going to get is this Slack message right here. So it says, do you approve this message to Tom? Hey Tom, I noticed you booked a call with us in a while and wanted to reach out and see if there's anything that we can help with. Okay, all we have to do from here is just respond here, and you could change the buttons. So it doesn't have to say respond. You can get quite flexible with how you would like to tweak these things. So let's say, yeah, this looks good. Let's submit this. What we're now going to see is that particular lead, it's going to send off into the approved. Like I said, it would actually wait for the second lead. So it's going to continuously run through Slack. So let's pull up, see what this lead is doing. So it's just creating the same exact message. I noticed you haven't booked a call with us in a while and wanted to reach out and see if there's anything we can help with. Okay, for whatever reason, maybe we don't agree with this response that AI has crafted for us. So we're going to say, no, this is too casual and not long enough. So make it more formal. Let's now submit this. And we can see one of those leads is going to get sent off because we approved one of them. The other one, it's going to go down this bottom section down here, further revisions. So what we're doing is we are having this revision agent where it's just going to provide you with the suggested edits. And then it's going to put this into OpenAI model right here, where we're then saying, analyze the text, provide me only with their emails written, and, make adjustments based off of what I was requesting. So it's going to send another message to me. As I requested, it made this message a bit longer, and let's see if it's more formal. I hope this message finds you well. I wanted to take a moment to follow up as I noticed that it has been some time since our last scheduled call. We value our collaboration and are keen to understand if there are any areas where we can be of assistance to you. Yeah, right off the bat, it's longer and more formal already. So let's go ahead and say, yes, this looks good. Or we could just say, no, this is sucky, where it's just going to rinse and repeat the same process, try to come up with another response, and then feed that back to me. And it's just going to be a, repeating process. So it says the site can't be reached. Okay, there we go. All right, now let's see if it actually finished up properly, which it should have. Amazing. So we can see both of these leads went to the approved section, and it's going to be the same exact process for down here, but we're going to be changing the triggers. So instead of doing this within a CRM, we're just going to change the inputs, have it be within Gmail, watching for any new messages. So what you can do from here is you can include different filters, watch for particular emails. So maybe if you only want to accept emails with the subject line, ticket number, stuff like that, Maybe you only want to respond to tickets, or maybe you only want to respond to emails regarding a proposal, invoice, whatever it may be. So that is the first system I'm going to be sharing with you. So I'm going to have this entire template in my free Skool community. Link's going to be down below in the description where you can find that. But yeah, just keep in mind that there's so many different things that you can tack onto this system. And this is really meant to be more of a foundation and giving you a sense of, using this human in the loop feature and building some pretty intense stuff with it. But in any case, let's move on to the next system. And that is going to be generating and enriching leads. So this system right here, you can sell for as much as you would like. And why I say that is because it's going to be dependent on how much leads and clients you are actually going to be bringing from this. I mean, it's directly attributing to revenue generation and of course, cost savings and driving leverage within a business. So that's two different things that we try to solve for when we are working with a company. It's either driving revenue or creating leverage. So there's two things. Creating leverage, obviously just meaning saving time in some shape or form. Now, how we're doing that through here is we're using Apify and Apollo, where it's just going to be one, finding different leads. So we're going to obviously already have a niche or some sort of target audience that we're going to be searching for. We're going to plug that into Apollo. Apify is going to scrape that for us. And from there, we're going to verify the emails and then create personalized first lines to the email and then send them into Instantly. So there's a few different APIs and there's a few different softwares and third parties, I should say, that you will have to use. But if it's something that you're using to directly drive revenue and get you more clients, this is a very small investment to be making. So what we use for Instantly, it's about $90 a month or so. We have Million Verifier, we have Apify, and Apollo. So there's a couple different ways that we're going to be going about this. You can actually see on the left everything that you're going to need. So feel free to follow that instead of listening to me. But what we're going to be doing is actually pretty straightforward. So we're going to come into Apollo. If you aren't familiar with Apollo, it's just a lead database where you're able to find thousands of different leads online. So what we're going to do, it's actually pretty simple. We're going to filter out exactly who we are going to be looking for. So let's say we're working with a client and this part is going to have to be manual. There are particular things that you can do, like filling out a form submission and then it's automatically going to Apollo for you, do the searches and everything. But we're going to keep it manual for the time being. And what we're going to do, we're just going to go into Apollo, scrape the leads and filter out who we are looking for. So let's say we are looking for companies. Let's get a little bit specific about this. So let's not do company and lookalikes. Let's do industry and keywords. So if you wanted to find real estate law, maybe something like that, this is then going to override this keyword right here. But I'm going to leave this just commercial real estate. And let's put the number of employees 1 through 10 and 11 through 20. Awesome. So once we get our results and we're happy with what we found, so we can see right here, we have 57,000 leads. What we're going to do is we're going to copy this link. We're going to come back into our N8N workflow. I'm then going to open up this Google Sheet node, and there's actually a couple different ways that you can be doing this. So I just created a simple Google Sheet asking to enter Apollo search URL. So I'm going to enter that Apollo URL right here. And from there, we can just go ahead and run this. And what it's going to do, it's going to be connecting to Apify. So this node right here, we're just making an API call to an Apify actor. So if I come into Apify right now, and you can use this for free and try it out for yourself. I'm not exactly sure how many leads you would be able to scrape with the free version, but if you add maybe $10 on your account, you'll be able to scrape, hundreds, thousands of leads. So this is what I recommend to do so. And we are using the CodeCrafter Apollo scraper where you can scrape up to 50,000 leads. So you'll have to hook up all your APIs and different things like that. But I'm going to give you guys the template for this as well for completely free. Again, you can get that in my Skool community. Link is going to be down below in the description so you don't have to type out all these different things. So you can see we're just mapping up some of the different logic within here, mapping up the variables, I should say, instead. Entering the URL right here. We can see this is just the Apollo URL that I copied from earlier. Next up, we're going to verify the emails. Now, it's very important that we verify every single email that we're getting. And we use Million Verifier for this. I'm not sponsored by them, but it's just one of my preferred platforms. You can use Instant Leads to verify everything, but Million Verifier is what I prefer to use. So We're then going to route everything within there, going to upload mass amounts of leads. So it's constantly going to verify every lead. Now, if a lead is not verified and it can't confirm whether it's safe to send that email, it's not going to do anything with that. But the ones that are verified, it's going to go down this next route, and it's going to basically continuously looping while it's going to run through and create a personalized first line. So what I'm saying is you're an AI agent responsible for generating a short, friendly, cold email icebreaker that leads into a pitch. So we're basically just saying, hey, personalize this email, do some research on them, and then update that row. And from there, you can then send them into Instantly, where we're going to get ready to send mass email campaigns. So if I open up Instantly right now, you can see within here, we have a demo. And what I'm doing is I am just copying this ID right here. And if I go back into N8N, I'm then just going to open up this HTTP request, and we're going to enter some of the details within here. So obviously we want to input our API key and then all the different variables. So the campaign ID that we just grabbed, we'll put it down here. But again, you guys won't have to do all this. You can get the template for completely free if you would like to be using this for yourself. So I also included a research prospect further using Perplexity Node. Now, what you can use for this, and the reason why I included it, is because sometimes you're not happy with the results that ChatGPT is generating, and we want to do real-time, live research. So what I said is just scrape the website, and then you can include more things like saying, hey, I need you to personalize the email based on the information you find from their website. So you will have to leverage Perplexity's API for this. But of course, if you're not happy with this node right here, generating the personalized first lines, then try out Perplexity and see how it's doing researching their websites and coming back with a first line for you. Now, this is more or less everything that's going to be covered within this system right here. But again, you can build a custom front end on top of this and lay out all the different things where it's going to be visualizing the personalized emails and everything and showing you some data from Instantly. But this is just kind of a foundation of what you can be building upon. But this is going to directly attribute to a client's revenue, even your own agency. You can use it for yourself, where it's going to automatically scrape all these leads for a fraction of the cost, and then it's going to create a necessity for a stimuli in an email, which is going to be that first line. Extremely pivotal to have that within an email. So that's more or less this entire system. Again, you can get that template down below in the description to my free school community. Let's move on to the next one. All right, we're now going to get into the third and final automation system, and that is going to be our voice systems. So this is going to be, as you can imagine, calling and handling inbound calls for our clients, or for maybe even your own company if you would like to include so. Now what we have right here is a webhook, and where this webhook is coming from is a form. So what I've done is I've set up a form on Go High Level, basically where I set up a website, and anytime that form is filled out, maybe we're running ads, or maybe we have that form on our website and we're generating traffic to that website somehow, some way. Maybe it's a lead magnet and people are filling that out and they're opting in. Okay. Well, from there, we're going to take the information that they filled out, things like first name, last name, phone number, email, and we're then going to trigger a call to happen. So that's what we're doing right here. We are going to basically make an API call to Vappy. Vappy is going to be the telephony system that we're utilizing to actually call these people. So I'm providing it with my API key, phone number ID, all that good stuff. Now what this is going to do, it's going to trigger that initial call. So from there, we're going to be getting the status and basically determining what happened. So once that phone call finishes, did the lead decline? Did they not answer? Or did they answer? And from there, there's going to be two options. If they answered, either they booked a call or they didn't book a call. So if they did answer and they booked a call, well, it's just going to go down this route, update our database and update Go High Level. And if they did not book a call, well, in that case, we are going to be determining what happened, what went wrong. Maybe we need to update the do not contact list and add them to that registry. And then from there, we're also going to update our internal database. I've shown this in the past. I've actually shown this many different times, where we are then creating a front end, which is just going to be visualizing our database. So Supabase in this example, this is just a visual representation of that. Now you can see we have you can listen to phone calls and all the different calls that were happening and going on. You can look at different messages that were sent out. So this is just one small piece of the puzzle. This is one of the most fundamental steps, and that's just triggering everything. From here, what you can actually create is different systems built on top of this. So like what we do most of the time is build out follow-up systems. So if the lead declined, if they didn't answer the phone the first time, we're going to update Go High Level. We're then just going to basically trigger a sequence of drips. And those drips are going to be doing different things. And it's going to be a case-by-case basis, where some clients, they want to follow up 1,000 different times or until somebody opts out and unsubscribes. Or maybe they just want us to call 2 times. And then from there, if they still aren't answering, we're just going to text them or email them from then on. So again, that's going to be like a case-by-case basis, depending on what your client actually wants. But more or less, this is just going to be a follow-up sequence that we're going to be triggering from here. Then down here, as I mentioned, we're just going to determine what went wrong and update everything accordingly. So how we are actually setting this up is, as I mentioned, we're doing an API call within Vappy. So you will have to sign up for an account within Vappy. It's completely free. It's pay as you go, actually. So we're then just going to create an assistant. So like right here, we have real estate demo. We're just going to provide some specific information like, okay, the first thing I want you to do is greet the person that we're calling. So say like, thanks for calling Hammer Real Estate Company. How can I help you today? I guess this would be a bad example because this is actually setting up an inbound agent, not an outbound agent. So inbound being, somebody's calling in like a receptionist essentially. Outbound is obviously vice versa, where we're just going to be calling somebody, triggering that call. So I'm not going to dive too much into this because I do cover the voice prompts. If you want to check out all my previous videos going over how to create proper voice agents, AI call centers, all that stuff, check out some of my previous videos where I get very technical and granular about how this is actually built out. I also provide you with a custom GPT that you can use to help craft your voice prompting or prompt your voice inputs, I should say. But this is more or less what the system is encompassing. So we're just triggering those calls. And this is extremely pivotal for honestly every business today, because every business has some leads that they are letting slip through the cracks. You can think if a company is running ads and they aren't able to handle all of those leads, or maybe a law firm. I've spoken to many different law firms and honestly, a lot of different industries. If they don't answer the phone right away, maybe they're asleep and their team isn't operating, but somebody from another state needs their services. Well, if they don't answer, they're just going to go to another competitor. So this is a prevalent issue in a lot of businesses today, where they're not going to be able to answer every phone, not going to be able to manage every single lead. But an AI system like this, it's going to be instantaneous. It's going to work 24/7 and be persistent for you. So it's one of the biggest issues that we have seen in one of the most commonly requested automations from our business. And it's actually turned into a flagship product of ours. So the demand is definitely there right now. And I can speak from personal experience that this solution, this system is selling like any other that I've seen. So I would highly recommend to jumping on this, checking out some of my previous videos, going over what this actually looks like more technically. Again, I'm going to give you guys the template for this system in particular, put that within my community. Link is going to be down below. I'm not going to be sharing everything else and all the other, different systems that we build on top of this because it is proprietary data that we sell for thousands of dollars to our clients. But in any case, I hope you guys found some real value within this video. I know I didn't get too technical into each and every one, but I did want to cover what we are selling the most of, just giving you an idea of what you can actually be selling for yourself if you are ever feeling stuck and not sure what you can do, or if there's even any systems out there that you can sell for businesses that are going to provide value. And I'm telling you right now that there's plenty of different systems that you can be selling as long as you are focusing on a pain point and then reverse engineering and really building solutions that solve for those pain points. That's exactly what I did with these systems right here. So we would get requests like human in the loop. So it just so happens that we can include this outreach system with human in the loop right here. So maybe we eventually want to send an email, but we don't want to, send emails without getting approval from the team because we're not confident in how it's going to respond yet, and we don't have a knowledge base. So, these are real practical things that we have sold many different times to business owners for thousands of dollars. So, these are actual systems that you can be selling for yourself to other business owners. But in any case, I really hope you guys did find some value within this video. I'm trying out a different style, different format, if you will. And if you appreciated this type of video, then let me know down below in the comments, leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.